Welcome to Wikipedipodcast, where I talk about a Wikipedia article. This one's about orthodontic headgear. Let's get started. As the name implies, orthodontic headgear is a type of orthodontic appliance, typically attached to the patient's head with a strap or number of straps around the patient's head or neck. From this, a force is transferred to the mouth or jaws of the subject. Thus, a headgear is an orthodontic appliance used to correct bite and support proper jaw alignment and growth. Headgear is typically recommended for children whose jawbones are still growing. Unlike braces, headgear is worn partially outside of the mouth. An orthodontist may recommend headgear for a patient if their bite is more severely out of alignment. The device typically transfers the force to the teeth via a face bow or J-hooks to the patient's dental braces, or a palatal expander. Yes, there we go. That aids in correcting more severe bite problems or is used in retention of the teeth and jaws of the patient. Just one thing to point out, I also had to wear a part of this, like one of these types of things when I was a kid. It's literally the worst. It is the most embarrassing thing. I didn't have to wear it in public, but boy, even at home, embarrassing. All right, let's keep going. Need for treatment and concurrent corrections. Geez, there's a lot of big words in this. All right, headgear is most commonly used to correct interposterior discrepancies. The headgear attaches to the braces via metal hooks or a face bow. Straps or a head cap anchor the headgear to the back of the head or neck. In some situations, both are used. Elastic bands are used to apply pressure to the hook or to the bow or hooks. Its purpose is to slow or stop the upper jaw from growing, thereby preventing or correcting an overjet. Other forms of headgear treat reverse overjets, in which the top jaw is not forward enough. It is similar to a face mask, also attached to braces, and encourages forward growth of the upper jaw. Headgear can also be used to make more space for teeth to come in. In this instance, the headgear is attached to the molars via molar headgear bands and tubes, and helps to draw these molars backwards into the mouth, opening up space for the front teeth to be moved back using braces and bands. Multiple appliances and accessories are typically used along with the headgear, such as such as power chains, coil springs, twin blocks, plates, and retainers. Plates or retainers, face masks, a headgear helmet. A headgear helmet is a cervical headgear with a cap or rigid helmet that covers the entire head. Jesus Christ. Lip bumpers, palate expanders, elastics, bionators, Herbist appliances, Wilson appliances, other headgear, hybrid twin locks, positioner retainers, and Jasper jumpers. Fuck, that is a lot. Okay, many patients wear a combination of or all of these appliances at any given time in their treatment. Yeah, some of those I know about, but some of those fucking power chains, Jesus Christ, it sounds like you're putting a chainsaw in their mouth. Whew, okay. Headgear needs to be worn between 12 and 23 hours each day to be effective in correcting the overbite, typically for 12 to 18 months depending on the severity of the overbite, how much it is worn, and what growth stage the patient is in. Typically, however, oh man, I swear I have a reading disability, which is the worst thing for a podcast like this. Typically, however, the prescribed daily wear time will be between 14 and 16 hours a day. Orthodontic headgear will usually consist of three major components. 1. A face bow. The face bow, or J-hooks, is fitted with a metal arch. The face bow, or J-hooks, is fitted with a metal arch onto headgear tubes attached to the rear upper and lower molars. This face bow then, I keep on wanting to say face brow. I don't know why. This face bow then extends out of the mouth and around the patient's face. J hooks are different in that they hook onto the patient's mouth and attach directly to the brace. See photo of example of J hooks. Head cap. The second component is the head cap, which typically consists of one or a number of straps fitting around the patient's head. This is attached with elastic bands or springs to the face bow. Additional straps and attachments are used to ensure comfort and safety. Oh man, I can't imagine wearing one of those. Like that has like a billion straps and shit. That's insane. Attachment, the third and final component. Typically consisting of rubber bands, elastics or springs, joins the face bow or J hooks and the head cap together, providing the force to move the upper teeth jaw backwards. I swear, some of the writing for this just seems off. I mean, it's probably just me, but like grammatically, some of these sentences that I've read just seem weird. Anyways, let's finish this part off. Soreness of teeth when chewing or when the teeth touch is typical. Okay. Patients usually feel the soreness 2 to 3 hours later, but younger patients tend to react sooner, 1 to 1.5 hours. The headgear application is one of the most useful appliances available to the orthodontist when looking to correct a Class 2 malocclusion? Let's go with that. Face mask and reverse pull headgear. Whew. Okay. Face mask or reverse pull headgear is an orthodontic appliance typically used in growing patients to correct underbites, technically termed Class 3 orthodontic problems. Yep, cool. By pulling forward and assisting the growth of the upper jaw, maxilla, allowing it to catch up to the size of the lower jaw, mandible. Face masks or reverse pull headgear tend to be worn between 12 and 23 hours per day, but typically 14 to 16 hours a day is effective in correcting the underbite. Overall wear time is usually anywhere between 12 to 18 months, depending on the severity of the bite and how much the patient's jaws and bones are growing over this time. Yep, okay, so it's the same thing as before, obviously. The appliance normally consists of a frame or a center bar The appliance normally consists of a frame or Okay, look at this. Ready? The appliance normally consists of a frame or a center bars that are strapped to the patient's head during a fitting appointment. That's wrong. It shouldn't be a center bars. It would be or center bars or a center bar, right? Am I wrong? Anyways, let's keep going. The frame is a section which is positioned in the front of the patient's mouth, which allows for the attachment of elastic or rubber bands directly into the mouth area. These elastics are then hooked onto the patient's braces, brackets and bands, or appliance fitted in his or her mouth. This creates a forward pulling force to pull the upper jaw forward. The orthodontic face mask typically consists of 3 major components. Face frame. First, the face frame is a metal and plastic structure which is adjusted to fit onto the patient's face. The frame is normally stabilized on the child's face with the aid of a chin-up or a forehead pad. These are padded to ensure patient comfort. Okay. The frame typically has a horizontal bar or mouth yoke. Ugh, I hate the sound of that. A mouth yoke. Ugh, gross. Which the orthodontist will adjust so it is correctly positioned in front of the patient's mouth to get the elastics to apply the force in the desired direction. The mouth yoke has a number of hooks, 4 to 6 depending on type of appliance. See photo with 6 hooks. Which allows the orthodontist to attach elastics or springs directly from the face mask into the patient's mouth. The frame allows the patient to move his or her head freely and to talk. All other oral activities are typically limited or restricted, such as eating or playing sports or playing a wind musical instrument, although drinking is recommended using a straw so as not to remove the whole appliance at night or in the day when thirsty. That's so sad. 2. Head caps. Some face masks and all reverse pull headgear have a second part which consists of a head cap and is made up of a number of straps fitting around the patient's head. In this case, the head cap is used to stabilize the face frame described above and to ensure it is held correctly in position. See the photo about it. Oh, poor kids. Jeez, this is terrible. Third, attachment. The third and final component is the mouth attachment. Typically using rubber bands, joins the face mask from the mouth yoke into the patient's mouth. The elastic hook on the patient's braces or other such suitable oral appliance, as the elastics are flexible, up to 6 elastics may be used to provide various forward and sideways forces on the patient's teeth and arch, while still allowing the patient to open his or her jaw. In some cases, surgery is required in conjunction with a face mask or reverse pull headgear. Many parents and doctors recommend using early intervention, typically between ages 7 to 13, by using a face mask to avoid costly and painful surgical procedures later. The appliance is very effective in correcting class 3 orthodontic problems in younger or adolescent patients that are still growing. Initially, it can still be difficult. And why did I say still? Initially, it can be difficult for children to wear a mask or headgear. However, most doctors and patients agree that children and adolescents adapt quickly to such changes and requirements. I mean, I guess. Parents should be aware that their child is often better off wearing a face mask or headgear to avoid later surgery. And the patient, friends, and school peers normally get used to the new appliance just after a few weeks. I don't know about that, but okay. If you say so, Wikipedia. Adverse effects and controversy. Oh boy, here we go. The juicy stuff. Researchers who have studied the long-term effects of orthodontic headgear have found that it may flatten the face and prevent the chin from coming forward, pushing both the upper and lower jaw down and back into the airway. Ooh, in more technical terms, it inhibits the natural growth of the jaws and lead to a reduction in the SNA and ANB angles, which relate to the forward position of the maxilla and the mandible, and good indicators of the size of a person's airway. I want to know about that. The controversy about headgear intensified beginning in the 1980s when formerly headgear-treated patients developed severe health symptoms such as sleep apnea, breathing problems, and acute TMD. In the 21st century, a former headgear patient, Omar Lalani, supported by doctors in the United States and Canada, launched a petition to make orthodontic headgear a violation against children's human rights. This petition and victim case studies can be seen on this website, Right to Grow. I'm not against that entirely. There's definitely a lot of negative connotation around that. In some cases, eye injuries have been reported, which is minimized with the use of safety release straps and safety face bows. Yeah, makes sense. Teenagers prescribed orthodontic headgear often face social stigma and bullying due to their detracting appearance. Wow, that's a light way of saying that. Summed up in one sentence, it seems. Cool. The need for headgear in orthodontics and its application by practitioners has somewhat decreased in recent years as some orthodontists use temporary implants, i.e. temporary anchorage devices, inside the patient's mouth to perform the same tooth movements. However, the headgear is still widely used and a very effective appliance used by orthodontists today. Soreness of teeth when chewing or when the teeth touch is typical. Adults usually feel the soreness 12 to 24 hours later, but younger patients tend to react sooner, 2 to 6 hours. Adults are sometimes prescribed headgear, but this is less frequent. The headgear is one of the most useful appliances available to the orthodontist, but many patients find it difficult to comply with daytime wear, so it is mainly worn in the evenings and when sleeping. A similar appliance is the reversible headgear or orthodontic face mask. Yeah, and that's it. Why did they end the article like that? Why did they end this article like that? That's very strange. The whole last, you could have cut out this whole section right here. If you're watching this whole last half paragraph, you just take that out. Just get rid of it. Just end it on a high note of, hey, it's still widely used today and super effective. Just end it. Just Wikipedia. Just end it like that. Anyways, well, that was it. If you enjoyed it, why not subscribe, leave a like, comment of what you'd like me to do in the future. Have a garbage day.